Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode. In this episode we are looking at Hebes. This is the plant down here, which is a Hebe. It's got a nice purple kind of flower on it, and it's a very useful plant to put in your garden, especially in the front of your border. Most Hebes tend to grow to around about um, a meter in height, meter in width, although some are ground covers, and there's some very few that grow to about 4 meters, maybe two or three. There's about anywhere between 90 to 100 species of Hebes around the world. These are sort of generally endemic to New Zealand, so they're sort of natural native to New Zealand. There's a few outside that area that belong to South America, and a couple that I think in Australia, Papua New Guinea. But here we've got a pretty much a New Zealand native plant. And the plant you see now is a plant that's been cultivated. So it's a plant that's undergone crossbreeding. And so most of the Hebes that are available now in the nurseries are crossbred cultivars. They're not their original species. You probably can get some of those, but generally speaking, you're buying a cultivar. And the good thing about that is the cultivars are pest and disease resistant generally, or they've got better attributes. And so here at Botanic Gardens, which is where we are now, in the early 1980s, the manager, Jack Hobbs, started to breed the Hebes to get more pest and disease resistance. And he's come up with some very lots of varieties, but some very good, useful varieties like Worry Mist, which is widely available. First Light, it's another one that's a very popular one, which I particularly like. And things like Weary Image. Those are all quite cool Hebes that you can get locally at the local nursery. Now, a lot of Hebes, depending where you're from, will be different because different breeders breed different types of Hebes. So in here in Auckland, we've got a selection that are particularly suited to the Auckland climate, which is kind of warmer, a bit humid, a little bit stickier. And it's the reason really was a lot of the Hebes that were grown here initially were just getting so many pests and diseases because of the humidity. It really was encouraging a lot of the bugs. So the new varieties are good to use. So if you were put off by Hebes in the past, then maybe give them another go because you'll probably find that the new Hebes will do a lot better in your garden. So yeah, Hebe, the Greek name or whatever, was meant to mean goddess of youth. Now Hebes, they're not short-lived, but they're not what I'd call long-lived. They live about 10 years approximately. That's what I've found anyway. And when I've sort of used them, and gradually they'll just sort of get a bit tired, a little bit. Like lavenders might be last you about 3 to 4, and then you'll find that you need to put a new lavender in. Probably after about 10, you'll probably need to put a new Hebe in. Now, there's a lots of new varieties out that have all sorts of different flowers. They've also got foliage that is from burgundy to very silver grey, and it looks, you can really sort of design really well with them. Things like Hebe toparia, like topiary, because it grows into sort of like a rounded ball shape and it's silver. It looks really quite cool, and I've used that one a few times to create some nice effects in the garden. You don't have to really clip it because it just grows into a natural sort of ball shape. Like I said, the ones that are ground covers I find useful, and you can put them at the front of the border. Normally when I try to use them, I would sort of try and clump them together in maybe about 3 or 5. Give them a bit of space between each other so they're not sort of overcrowding, because that's probably what they don't like. Make sure they go into good soil so that it's free draining. They don't like wet feet or getting boggy soils. They don't like that. So if you've got those sort of soils and you want to try them, maybe just lift them up a little bit so they get out of that sort of wet soil, and just mound them up. So there's, like I said, there's quite a few different varieties for around the different zones. So in New Zealand, we've obviously got South Island to the North Island. We've got very cold climates, mountainous, and those are kind of good for alpine Hebes and the whipcord Hebes. And then the more bigger leaf varieties here in sort of the North Island, Auckland, grow really well. So that's that. They have got various, the Maori common name for Hebe was Korimiku, and that is a meaning that it's got a, it was used by Maori in medicine to help cure diarrhea, and then it was effective, and then actually there was a chemical in that they found that actually was good for dysentery, because obviously it did work, and in World War II they sent it over to the soldiers who were fighting in North Africa, and it worked well. And that's what they did. They just put some dried leaves. I think they either ate the leaves or they made a tea out of it, but it's not these new varieties. It was a particular variety, Stricta and salicifolia, that they used for that. Okay, guys, I'll probably leave it there. We've probably covered Hebes. If you want to see the range of Hebes that's documented, at least most of them, you can have a look at the Hebe Society website. I'll link it down in the description. You'll find that they'll go through alphabetically, and you just need to pick the one that's best suited for your area, your climate, and really what you want to do with it. You know, whether you want to grow their foliage or the form, and how you want to use it in your garden. Okay, guys, I'll leave it there. I'll show you some of the varieties, some of the ones I filmed throughout throughout the Auckland area. Some of the ones I particularly like. I've done my best to identify them because not all of them I identified, which is a bit of a pain, but I've done my best to identify them. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next video.